A boy from the forest. In a quiet village in southern Sweden, surrounded by forests and lakes, a boy named Ingvar Kamprad was born in 1926. His family lived on a small farm called Entrepreneurship, near the village of Agunnaryd. Life was not easy. The winters were cold, and the land was not very fertile. People worked hard just to survive. Ingvar was not like the other children. He had trouble reading and writing. At school, he struggled. Teachers thought he was lazy or slow. But the truth was different. Ingvar had dyslexia, a condition that made reading difficult. At that time, no one understood what it was. There was no help for children like him. Still, Ingvar was determined to learn in his own way. Even as a child, he had a strong will. He was always curious, always thinking. And while other kids played, Ingvar was busy trying to sell things. He started small. At the age of 5, he bought matches in bulk and sold them to neighbors at a small profit. He discovered something important. If you buy cheap and sell smart, you can make money. This idea stayed with him his whole life. At age 7, he was riding his bicycle to nearby farms, selling matches. Soon he added pencils, Christmas cards, fish, and seeds to his business. People laughed at the little boy with a big dream, but he didn't care. He had a vision. Most people give up too soon, he once said. I never gave up. I just tried another way. The birth of an idea. Ingvar's family wasn't rich, but his father saw the boy's energy and gave him a small reward for doing well in school. Instead of buying toys, Ingvar used the money to start a real business. He was just 17. He called it IKEA. The name came from his initials, IK, and the farm and village where he grew up, Entrepreneurship and Agunnaryd. IKEA. At first, IKEA sold small goods by mail order, pens, wallets, watches. Ingvar would advertise in newspapers, then package orders and deliver them himself. It was simple, but it worked. Soon, he realized that furniture was in high demand, but very expensive. He had an idea. What if furniture could be made cheaper, easier to transport, and available to everyone? He began working with local craftsmen to build furniture at low cost. But delivering large items was a challenge. One day, an employee took the legs off a table to fit it in a car. That was it, the big idea. Flat pack furniture. You buy it, take it home, and build it yourself. It was cheaper to store, cheaper to ship, and easier for customers. This small idea would change the world. Simplicity and discipline. Ingvar wasn't just smart, he was disciplined. He believed in simplicity in everything, design, life, and business. He wore simple clothes, drove old cars, and flew economy class, even when he was a millionaire. His office had basic furniture. He stayed in cheap hotels. To him, saving money was not greed, it was philosophy. Waste of resources is a mortal sin at IKEA, he said. Only those who walk their own path can go where no one has been. He wanted to build a company that would help ordinary people furnish their homes beautifully, without going into debt. And he wanted to keep costs low so everyone could afford good design. IKEA stores were designed like mazes, so people would see more items while walking through. The stores were often located outside cities to save on land. And instead of paying salespeople, customers picked up items from the warehouse themselves. Smart, efficient, revolutionary. The struggles and setbacks. Not everyone liked what Ingvar was doing. Other furniture companies saw him as a threat. They tried to stop him. Some pressured suppliers not to work with IKEA. Others spread rumors. For a while, it looked like IKEA would fail. But Ingvar didn't quit. He found new suppliers in Poland, where costs were lower. He visited factories himself and built strong relationships. He faced challenges not just in business, but in life. He admitted he had made mistakes, even joined a far-right youth group in his early years. But he later said it was the biggest regret of his life. He believed in learning, in changing, and in moving forward. Only those who are asleep make no mistakes, he once said. Through failure and criticism, he kept going. IKEA grew, slowly but surely. Building a culture. IKEA was not just a company. It became a culture. Ingvar believed that the company should reflect his own values: simplicity, efficiency, honesty, and responsibility. He wrote a small book called The Testament of a Furniture Dealer. It was not a marketing tool. It was a guide for how IKEA employees should think and behave. It included principles like: always ask, is there a better way? Keep costs low, always. Be humble. Think long-term. Make mistakes, but learn fast. This document became IKEA's DNA. It was read by every manager. It was more than a set of rules, it was a mindset. Ingvar believed that leadership was not about power, but about setting an example. He lived modestly, treated people equally, and avoided luxury. He believed that if the boss lives simply, everyone else will follow. Even as IKEA opened more stores and grew rapidly, Ingvar stayed focused on the basics: good design, low prices, and customer satisfaction. He said, to design a desk which may cost $1,000 is easy for a furniture designer, but to design a functional and good desk which shall cost $50 can only be done by the very best. This was his genius, making the best quality affordable for ordinary people. The first big expansion. By the 1950s, IKEA was becoming popular in Sweden. Ingvar saw the future. People wanted modern homes, but they couldn't afford expensive furniture. IKEA solved that problem. In 1958, IKEA opened its first big store in Älmhult, Sweden. It was 7,000 square meters, the largest furniture store in Scandinavia. It was also the first to combine showroom, warehouse, and restaurant in one place. Why a restaurant? Ingvar noticed something. People were spending hours in the store, looking at items. They got hungry, so he added a cafe that served Swedish meatballs, coffee, and simple meals. It was a smart move. It made the shopping experience better, and even became part of IKEA's identity. Soon after, IKEA expanded to Norway and Denmark, then Switzerland, then Germany. Step by step, it entered new markets, always with the same principles: simplicity, low cost, and functional design. A philosophy of frugality. As IKEA grew, many expected Ingvar to enjoy his success: buy a mansion, travel first class, wear designer suits. But he never changed. He continued to drive an old Volvo, fly economy, and even reuse tea bags. He stayed in budget hotels. When someone asked him why, he replied, "Why should I be different? If I expect our customers to save, I must lead by example." His attitude inspired his employees. Many began to think the same way. Frugality was not shameful, it was wise. Inside IKEA, costs were tracked carefully. Even office paper was reused. Big corporate parties were avoided. Everything was done with one question in mind: would the customer benefit from this cost? This philosophy helped IKEA stay strong during economic crises. While other companies were spending, IKEA was saving. Innovation from constraints. Because IKEA focused so much on saving costs, it had to be innovative. For example, to reduce packaging size, IKEA developed flat pack solutions. To lower transport costs, they made furniture that could be stacked. To cut material costs, they experimented with particle board and laminates instead of solid wood. They simplified designs. No extra decorations, no fancy details, just clean lines, practical use, and Scandinavian minimalism. Even the naming system was unique. Since Ingvar had dyslexia, remembering product numbers was hard for him. So instead of using codes, IKEA products were given names: Swedish towns, rivers, men's names for chairs, women's names for curtains. It was charming and memorable. IKEA turned problems into strengths. And customers loved it. People and power. Ingvar believed that power should not be concentrated in one person. He didn't want IKEA to become just another corporation focused on profits. So he created a foundation to own the company. That way, IKEA would not be sold to the highest bidder. Its mission would be protected for generations. He said, "The most dangerous poison is the feeling of achievement. The antidote is to every evening think what can be done better tomorrow." He trusted young people, gave them responsibility, listened to ideas from everyone: warehouse workers, cashiers, managers. He often visited stores without warning to see how things really worked. His leadership was based on trust and curiosity. Global challenges. By the 1970s and 80s, IKEA was expanding across Europe and beyond. But with growth came new challenges. Entering the United States was especially difficult. Americans were used to large, heavy furniture and full-service stores. The idea of building your own table at home seemed strange. Also, some of IKEA's designs were too small for American homes. But Ingvar was not afraid of failure. He adapted. IKEA stores in the US offered larger items. Instructions were improved. The company studied American lifestyles and created new products to match. Slowly, Americans began to fall in love with the IKEA experience. In Japan, space was limited, and homes were smaller. So IKEA focused on compact, multi-use furniture. In the Middle East, they adjusted to cultural preferences and customs. In Russia, they built huge stores outside Moscow, and people traveled for hours to shop there. IKEA learned to listen, adapt, and respect local needs, without losing its core identity. The IKEA experience. IKEA was not just a place to shop. It became a destination. Families would spend entire afternoons there, browsing rooms, eating lunch, letting kids play in the childcare center, and getting inspired by home design. Each store was laid out like a story. Customers walked through staged rooms that showed how to live better with less. Bedrooms, kitchens, bathrooms, all designed to show smart solutions, even for small spaces. At the end, there was the warehouse, where you picked your own flat-pack furniture. Then checkout. Then, of course, the iconic Swedish food market. It wasn't just about buying a couch. It was about believing that better living was possible, even on a budget. Ingvar once said, "To create a better everyday life for the many people, that is the IKEA vision. Not just for the rich. For everyone." Controversies and growth. No global company grows without criticism. IKEA faced accusations about labor conditions at suppliers' factories, environmental concerns, and even political scandals related to Ingvar's past. But IKEA worked hard to improve. It created strict rules for suppliers, launched sustainability programs, and admitted past mistakes. Ingvar personally apologized for his youthful political affiliations. IKEA also began focusing on renewable energy, building wind farms, installing solar panels, and reducing waste. The company aimed to become climate positive by reducing more emissions than it produced. Still, challenges remained. But instead of denying them, IKEA tried to face them with transparency and responsibility, values deeply rooted in its founder's philosophy. Legacy of a visionary. In his later years, Ingvar Kamprad retired from daily management, but he never truly left IKEA. He still visited stores, talked to employees, and gave feedback. People said he had a young spirit, always curious, always learning. He once told a young manager, "If you think you are too big to do the small things, you are too small to do the big things." In 2018, Ingvar passed away at the age of 91. The world remembered him not just as a businessman, but as a man with a mission to make life better through simple, affordable design. Today, IKEA has hundreds of stores in more than 50 countries. Millions of people have furnished their homes with IKEA products, and the company still follows many of the values Ingvar wrote in his small guidebook so many years ago. Lessons from Ingvar Kamprad. What can we learn from a boy who sold matches and became the founder of one of the world's most loved brands? 1. Start small, but think big. Ingvar began by selling simple things like matches and pencils. But his dream was always larger. 2. Turn problems into opportunities. Dyslexia didn't stop him. It made him more creative. Shortage of space led to flat pack design. Cultural challenges led to innovation. 3. Be frugal, but not cheap. He believed in saving money, but never at the cost of quality or ethics. 4. Serve others. His focus was always on helping people live better lives. That's why he succeeded. 5. Stay humble. Even as a billionaire, he lived like an ordinary man. Because to him, values mattered more than status. Final words to the dreamers. If you are someone with a dream, whether it's to start a business, build a skill, or simply improve your life, remember Ingvar's story. He didn't have money. He didn't have special education. He had dyslexia. He was from a small village no one knew. But he had vision. He had discipline. He had a deep belief that the impossible was possible, if you never give up. As Ingvar said, happiness is not reaching your goal. Happiness is being on the way. So wherever you are on your journey, keep going. Think differently. Live simply. Build something that lasts. Because great things often come from small beginnings. The power of purpose. One of the most powerful forces behind IKEA's success was its purpose. Ingvar Kamprad never started IKEA just to make money. From the very beginning, his goal was to help ordinary people live better lives with affordable, good quality furniture. That purpose became the guiding light for the company, especially during hard times. When costs rose, IKEA didn't simply raise prices. Instead, teams worked harder to find ways to cut waste, improve packaging, or redesign a product to keep it affordable. This way of thinking wasn't common in the business world. Most companies raised prices or cut corners. But IKEA kept asking, how can we stay true to our mission? Even decades later, IKEA's catalog stated this clearly: we design for everyone, not just the few. It wasn't just marketing, it was a belief. Designing for real life. IKEA designers didn't sit in fancy offices imagining luxury lifestyles. Instead, they studied how people lived in small apartments, shared bedrooms, and tiny kitchens. They watched how parents needed safe spaces for children, or how students needed affordable desks and beds in one. They asked simple questions like, can this shelf be used in more than one way? Can this table fit in a small room? Can this be flat packed without losing strength? This focus on function over form helped IKEA stand out. Their products might not have been flashy, but they worked. And they lasted. In fact, many people today still own IKEA pieces from 20 or 30 years ago. That's a sign of good design, not expensive, but durable and useful. A global brand with a local heart. Although IKEA became a global giant, it worked hard to maintain a local feeling in every market. Stores in China were designed differently from those in Germany. In India, IKEA created products for floor-sitting cultures. In Canada, more space meant larger items were favored. But the brand always stayed true to its Swedish roots. Blue and yellow colors, Swedish names, and of course, Swedish meatballs. IKEA also hired locally. They trained thousands of employees in each country, shared its culture, and gave people a sense of ownership and pride. One manager in Mexico once said, "We don't just sell furniture. We sell the idea that you can build your own life." That was IKEA's power. It wasn't just about selling things. It was about empowering people. Sustainability as a core value. As IKEA grew, so did the impact it had on the environment. Ingvar Kamprad understood that business couldn't just be about growth anymore, it had to be about responsibility. IKEA began working on long-term plans to use only renewable or recycled materials, make all plastic products from recycled sources, become climate positive by 2030, invest in solar and wind energy, offer furniture take-back and recycling programs. This wasn't just for PR. IKEA's leadership believed that the future of furniture must be green, and they were willing to invest billions into that future. They also educated customers. Product labels showed energy savings, material sources, and recycling tips. Stores even gave workshops on furniture repair and creative reuse. As one IKEA campaign said, "It's not just about buying new. It's about caring more." The Kamprad legacy lives on. Ingvar Kamprad may be gone, but his legacy continues in every part of IKEA. His humble beginnings are remembered by every employee who reads the testament of a furniture dealer. His values still shape the design, logistics, and leadership at every level. His quotes are written on store walls and in training manuals. Simplicity is a virtue. Only while sleeping one makes no mistakes. Happiness is not reaching your goal but being on the way. He proved that you don't need to be perfect to succeed. You need to be persistent, curious, and disciplined. And above all, you must care. Care about people. Care about design. Care about doing things better tomorrow than you did today. Inspiration for entrepreneurs. If you're someone thinking about starting your own project or business, the IKEA story offers powerful lessons. You don't need to wait for the perfect idea. Ingvar started with matches. You don't need a lot of money. He began with almost nothing. You don't need to be the best student. He struggled in school his whole life. What you do need is a strong reason why, the discipline to keep going, a heart that wants to serve others. And remember, growth isn't always fast. IKEA took decades to become what it is today. Time is your friend if you use it well, Ingvar once said. Behind every product. Have you ever walked through IKEA and picked up a chair, a spoon, a lamp, or a rug? Behind each item is a story, a design team, a supply chain, a cost challenge, a user need. Every product goes through dozens of tests, redesigns, and discussions. And always, one question is asked: will this improve someone's life without increasing their cost? It's not about being fancy. It's about being meaningful. IKEA furniture may not be luxury, but for millions of people, it represents something bigger: control, independence, comfort, and pride. Moments that defined IKEA. Over the years, IKEA faced many key moments, turning points that could have led to failure or greatness. Here are just a few. The flat pack revolution. It all began when an employee removed the legs from a table to fit it in a car. That simple act led to the flat pack system, one of the most revolutionary ideas in retail. It changed not just how furniture was sold, but how it was experienced. The Poland strategy. When Swedish suppliers stopped working with IKEA due to pressure from competitors, Kamprad went to Poland. He found hard-working craftsmen, great materials, and affordable production. It was a bold move that saved the company and created long-lasting partnerships. The first IKEA store. Opening the massive store in Almhult was risky. At the time, nothing like it existed. But it proved that people wanted more than a store, they wanted an experience. It became a prototype for every IKEA store in the world. These moments didn't happen by luck. They happened because IKEA and Kamprad were always asking, what can we do better? A culture of listening. One of the most unique things about IKEA is how it listens. To employees, to customers, to local cultures. Some examples. In China, customers took naps in showroom beds, so IKEA added signs saying, feel free to try. In India, IKEA created a full line of steel kitchen products to match traditional cooking styles. In France, small apartments meant IKEA focused more on storage and space-saving designs. In Canada, the demand for larger living spaces inspired bigger sectional sofas and outdoor sets. IKEA didn't force one solution on everyone. It adapted, while keeping its core values intact. Kamprad believed, we can learn from anyone. The moment we stop listening, we stop growing. The role of design in daily life. IKEA's greatest success is not just furniture, it's the belief that design matters. A well-designed room can reduce stress, improve sleep, make families more connected, save time in the morning, boost productivity at work or school. That's why IKEA focused so much on function, not fashion. Many IKEA products have become classics. Billy Bookshelf, over 60 million sold worldwide. Poang Chair, designed to flex with your body. Mom Bed, clean, simple, and practical. These products aren't expensive, but they make life feel better. And that was always the goal. Words from the man himself. Ingvar Kamprad didn't do many interviews. He preferred working in silence. But he left behind notes, letters, speeches, and personal reflections. Here are some of his most inspiring words. A better everyday life means different things to different people. We must never forget that. Making mistakes is the privilege of the active. Only those who sleep make no mistakes. The true path to success is to focus on others, not yourself. We don't need more big ideas. We need more people who can bring simple ideas to life. These words still guide IKEA today. They are taught to every new employee, printed in training manuals, and displayed on store walls. What the future holds. Even after Kamprad's passing, IKEA is still growing, changing, and pushing boundaries. New online platforms make it easier than ever to shop from home. Augmented reality apps let you preview furniture in your space. IKEA is working on furniture rentals for students and city dwellers. Modular furniture is being designed to be reused, repurposed, or recycled. And yet, at the heart of all these innovations remains one idea: better living, for the many, not the few. The mission is not over. It's only just evolving. IKEA at home. For many people, IKEA is more than a store. It's where they bought their first bed, their first desk for college, the sofa where they held their baby, the kitchen table where they laughed with friends. IKEA has become part of daily life. In small homes, IKEA brings order. In new marriages, IKEA brings comfort. In children's rooms, IKEA brings imagination. In kitchens, IKEA brings togetherness. Each product is designed with a simple question: how will this help someone live better? That's the difference. IKEA products are not just objects. They are tools for living. Affordable doesn't mean cheap. One of the biggest myths is that affordable means low quality. Ingvar Kamprad worked hard to change that idea. IKEA proved that good design can be affordable. that you don't have to be rich to enjoy smart, beautiful things. To do this, IKEA focused on efficient production, smart logistics, flat packaging, self-service stores, in-house design teams. Instead of spending money on showrooms or fancy advertising, IKEA invested in what really matters, making better products at lower prices. The goal was never to be the cheapest. The goal was to offer the best possible value. From forests to cities, Ingvar Kamprad grew up in nature, among forests and lakes. He believed in nature's wisdom, its simplicity, its patience, its balance. As IKEA entered big cities, it brought that same spirit. Even in the middle of urban life, IKEA stores offer green spaces, natural light, recycled materials, affordable plants, and IKEA promoted a slower, more intentional lifestyle. Its catalog wasn't just a product list, it was a guide to living better with less. Kamprad believed that minimalism wasn't about having nothing, it was about choosing the right things. Family at the core. Ingvar Kamprad believed in family, not just his own, but the global IKEA family. He encouraged managers to see employees as people, not numbers. He promoted work-life balance, training, and equal opportunities. He believed that everyone should feel ownership. Every voice matters. A company grows when its people grow. Even today, IKEA's internal culture reflects this vision. Many employees stay for decades. Some started as warehouse workers and became top leaders. One manager once said, "At IKEA, you don't just get a job. You join a movement, global, but human." IKEA may operate in over 50 countries, but it never tried to become a cold, corporate giant. Ingvar wanted IKEA to stay human. He believed in writing with simple words. He encouraged managers to visit homes, listen to customers, and be humble. Even the language of IKEA is personal. We believe. Together we can. We're just getting started. This tone makes people feel connected. It makes customers feel like partners, not just buyers. That's the IKEA secret. Big brand, small voice. How IKEA shapes behavior. IKEA doesn't just sell furniture, it shapes how people live. Because of IKEA, more people build their own furniture. Small space living became more accepted. Flat pack became normal. Clean, minimal design became trendy. Home organization became a passion. IKEA didn't follow trends, it created them. It made do-it-yourself cool. It made saving space smart. It made simplicity stylish. Kamprad often said, "We have to lead, not follow." And led, they did. A brand of trust. Why do people keep coming back to IKEA? Because they trust it. They trust the prices. They trust the design. They trust the values behind the company. That trust wasn't built overnight. It took decades of consistency, honesty, and customer focus. Even when mistakes happened, IKEA usually admitted them, fixed them, and moved forward. Today, IKEA is one of the most trusted brands in the world. Not because it's perfect, but because it cares. The heart of the vision. If we had to summarize Ingvar Kamprad's vision in one sentence, it would be this: to create a better everyday life for the many people. Not just for shareholders, not just for the rich. For everyone. That's why IKEA matters. It reminds us that design is for everyone. That quality doesn't need to be expensive. That we can build a better world, one room, one product, one life at a time. From vision to system. Many entrepreneurs have a vision. Few build a system that outlives them. Ingvar Kamprad didn't want IKEA to depend on him forever. He knew that people retire, but ideas can last. So he built a system, a clear mission, to create a better everyday life for the many people. A simple philosophy. Low cost, high quality, functional design. A global structure, with foundations and ownership that protect the company from being sold or misused. This structure gave IKEA long-term stability. Even after Kamprad stepped away from daily management, IKEA continued to grow and stay true to its roots. That's the power of a strong system. It turns one man's dream into a living culture. Kamprad's personal habits. People often wonder, how did Ingvar Kamprad stay so focused and humble? Here are some of his daily habits. He woke up early and planned his day simply. He ate basic meals and avoided fancy restaurants. He reused hotel towels, even when he could afford luxury. He wrote ideas in notebooks and carried a pen everywhere. He visited IKEA stores regularly and talked to staff. He read letters from customers, both praise and complaints. He believed that discipline creates freedom. The more he simplified his life, the more energy he had for creating and building. Only those who keep their feet on the ground can reach for the stars, he said. The role of mistakes. Kamprad didn't try to hide his failures. He talked about them openly. He admitted he joined the wrong political group in his youth. He made bad business deals early on. He underestimated some markets. He sometimes acted too quickly, or too slowly. But he saw mistakes as part of growth. He taught his managers, mistakes are signs that you're trying. Fix them fast, learn faster, and move forward. At IKEA, failure wasn't punished if it came from initiative. Employees were encouraged to try new ideas, even if they didn't always work. That created a culture of learning and courage. Customer first, always. Every decision at IKEA begins with the customer. Before launching a new product, IKEA teams ask, who is this for? What problem does it solve? How can we make it more affordable? Will this product bring joy? Even store design is based on customer flow. Wide paths for strollers. Arrows to guide people. Room setups that inspire. Kids' play areas for parents to shop calmly. Clear signage and instructions. IKEA doesn't just sell furniture. It designs an experience that puts people first. That's why people keep coming back. The everyday dream. Some people dream of flying cars, billion-dollar startups, or world fame. Ingvar Kamprad dreamed of something quieter, but just as powerful. I dream of helping ordinary people live better, every day. That dream inspired a teenage boy selling matches door to door. A young man building mail-order catalogs. A furniture brand trusted in every continent. His dream didn't depend on talent, money, or perfect timing. It depended on service, vision, and persistence. That's what makes his story so relatable. That's what makes it your story, too. Because the dream of a better life isn't just his, it's ours. From you to the world. Now it's your turn. What small step can you take today? Can you organize your space to feel more peaceful? Can you simplify your schedule to focus on what matters? Can you start a side project with the spirit of curiosity? Can you serve someone today, with your skills, your time, your care? IKEA began with matches and a bicycle. What can you build with what you have? You don't need to change the whole world, but you can change your world. And when you do, it inspires others to do the same. A better everyday life starts with the choices we make today. Ingvar Kamprad. How IKEA empowers people. One of the most overlooked impacts of IKEA is how it empowers people to take control of their own lives. When you buy furniture from a traditional store, you pay more and wait for delivery and installation. When you buy from IKEA, you make a plan. Choose the right pieces. Pick it up yourself. Build it at home. Customize it to your needs. That process builds confidence. You don't just buy furniture, you create your space with your own hands. Kamprad believed that this empowerment was part of IKEA's mission. It was not about selling ready-made beauty. It was about giving people the tools to design their own world. IKEA and the next generation. As the world changes, so do people's needs. IKEA today is not just for furniture, it's a lifestyle brand. For the next generation, IKEA is focusing on sustainable living, using less, reusing more. Digital experiences, AR furniture planning, online catalogs, smaller homes, modular furniture, multi-use items, urban living, compact stores in city centers, shared living, solutions for roommates and co-living spaces. Young people today value flexibility, mobility, and purpose. IKEA is evolving to meet them where they are. Kamprad always said, "You have to renew yourself every day." And IKEA continues to do exactly that. IKEA and education. Did you know that IKEA also supports education? The IKEA Foundation has funded schools, libraries, and learning centers in dozens of countries. They've provided resources for girls' education in rural areas, refugee children in camps, job training for young people, entrepreneurship programs for women. Ingvar Kamprad believed that knowledge was the real key to improving lives. Just like he taught himself business, he wanted others to have the same opportunity. This focus on education aligns with IKEA's deeper mission, to improve lives, not just homes. Lessons from the IKEA way. If we step back and look at everything IKEA represents, we can learn a lot, not just about business, but about life. Lesson 1. Start where you are. Ingvar didn't wait for perfect timing. He started small, with matches, and learned on the way. Lesson 2. Keep it simple. In design, in business, in life, simplicity brings focus. IKEA's entire model is based on doing more with less. Lesson 3. Listen to people. Customers, employees, partners, listen and learn. IKEA's success came from paying attention to real needs. Lesson 4. Grow with purpose. Don't chase success just for money. Build something that matters, that lasts, that helps others. Lesson 5. Stay grounded. Even when IKEA became global, Kamprad stayed humble. That humility made his leadership strong. A legacy beyond business. Kamprad didn't just build a business, he built a mindset. His story teaches us that great ideas don't have to be complex. Impact comes from consistency. Real leadership is quiet, steady, and value-driven. He showed that you don't need a perfect past or elite education to create something meaningful. What matters most is your character, your vision, and your willingness to keep going. Kamprad left us with more than furniture. He left us with a reminder that every person, no matter how humble, can create something beautiful. Imagine the future. Imagine a world where every home is functional and beautiful. Where people take pride in their space, no matter how small. Where sustainability is normal, not special. Where design is affordable, not exclusive. Where companies care about the people they serve. That world is not a dream. It's already being built, one IKEA product at a time. And it started with one poor boy in Sweden. With dyslexia, a bicycle, and a vision. From Sweden to the world. From a farm in Elmterred to homes across the globe. Ingvar Kamprad's journey is a story of purpose, resilience, and service. He didn't seek fame. He didn't chase luxury. He chased meaning. And he gave the world something real. So next time you walk into an IKEA store, remember, you're not just shopping. You're taking part in a story. A story that proves ordinary people can do extraordinary things. And remember, big dreams often begin with simple actions. What will you build? Now that you've heard the story, ask yourself, What will you build? Maybe it's not a furniture company. Maybe it's a business, a skill, a mindset, a habit. Whatever it is, know this. You don't need to be perfect. You don't need to be rich. You don't need to have all the answers. You just need to start with what you have, where you are, right now. Like Ingvar Kamprad, you can begin small and still change the world. As he once said, it's amazing what you can achieve if you don't care who gets the credit. So go build, go create, go design your life. And remember, the way you live matters. Thank you for listening. The IKEA story. How a poor boy built a furniture empire. Written and produced by Learn Smarter. If this story inspired you, please like the video. Subscribe for more powerful stories. Share your thoughts in the comments. And most of all, believe in your own small beginnings.